think.
We are live, which, guys, I am really, really excited about today. Obviously, we've done several of these, but I think today's going to be extra special. So, for those of you that are watching, today's subject is the 3 disruptors that's going to change real estate forever. We're already seeing this, so we're really excited to talk about it. Of course, some of you guys are going to recognize these names, but we've got JB Hawkins out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, here to join us, and Mr. Ruben Garcia, all the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I like the wave, right? It's like a little pageant wave. So don't you guys just love technology? Here we have, Oklahoma, North Carolina, and Puerto Rico, and we're all here on the same call. So
yeah, and I'm sharing this video like crazy. So
yeah,
technology, man.
Share away. I'm going to tag you here in a little bit as well. So
cool.
With that said, right now, of course, like we were just talking, there's definitely some buzzwords out there. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of excitement. What would you guys say is the number one disruptor that you feel really could change the entire real estate game? Whether you're a brand new agent, experience, you deal with investors, new construction, what would you guys say is the number one disruptor?
Ladies.
Oh, so right ahead.
Okay. So, I mean, all right, I think that's the last group that I'm sharing this to. But what I think, for everyone who's watching and the people who are watching, I'd love to know if you disagree, if you do agree, if you could put it in the comments. If you don't like it, share it. Maybe someone will like this video. But I would say, and if you've been watching some of my stories, just the world to where fiat currency, just paper money. I don't think it's going away, obviously, but I think one of the big disruptors in the future is going to be where people are purchasing homes with cryptocurrencies. Obviously, we learned a little bit about that at EXPCon, where there are already agents who are already doing this. But when you bring it up, a lot of agents aren't really familiar with what it is, how to do it. Poly, which is what do you call it? It's a platform where you could do that, where you could buy homes with cryptocurrency. We actually got it for free at EXPCon, by the way, if you came to that class. But
it was full for some of us to come to, by the way.
Oh, I can put you on my shoulders. I'll just carry you in there. It was packed. It was packed. Yeah, but just like I was saying, I think that's going to be one of the biggest disruptors is just getting a lot more familiar with actually buying homes on the blockchain and using NFTs for deeds and for receipts and all of this that's coming down the pipeline, where it's all going to roll into this world that we call real estate. My wife was just doing a test because she's got to do it for our association. It's a lot of old language in there, man. And I think it's got a lot of old thought and mindset behind real estate. So I think that's going to be a huge disruptor in the future.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously, like I said, crypto, NFTs, but even the metaverse, right? I mean, that's something that is really exciting right now. But what I think is cool, if you really think about it, guys, EXP's been operating out of a metaverse for over a decade. Right. So it's new for a lot of other technologies and industries, but it's not really new for the way that we've been operating.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel? I mean, you both came from brick and mortar offices, and that kind of leads into a later conversation, but how have you seen the metaverse personally disrupt the way that we operate in real estate as far as sales and coaching and training?
I think it makes it easier for a lot of agents. They're more flexible. They're more mobile. I mean, I can work from anywhere I want to. So can you guys. I mean, it's 2022. That's if you're not, I don't know how other people are working, but to me, it makes it, I can jump on a training. I can jump into the metaverse and ask a question. I mean, it really does make it a lot easier for me.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I think, I think the biggest disruptor when it comes to the metaverse and like the whole digital space is the mindset. I think it really disrupts someone's mindset. They don't understand it. It's always been, you walk into an office, right? Your client always wants to be in this office where the people are wearing suits and collars. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think things are changing and have changed to where when you introduce this idea of doing, training and learning a lot more and connecting with your brokers, connecting with Oklahoma brokers and New York and California and Florida brokers and literally a snap. And we'll get into expansion later, but like that is just, it's hard to wrap your head around it. It's hard to understand it, and like Facebook, they're trying to really push it out to the mainstream and for people to see what this metaverse is. But Facebook, humongous company, like them or not, with them changing their name to Meta, and that's going to be their number one focus. And we're over here like, I think we've been doing that for a little bit now, but just in the real estate space, what's cool is that they figured out this technology so well that during the when everything was hitting the fan, is basically what I was saying. When everything was hitting the fan and people couldn't go to their brick and mortars, obviously we were good, and that's why the stock shot up so high. But then they started giving the technology, or I don't know, maybe a licensing agreement to some of the colleges, because they were like, man, we really need this. This works. So I think the biggest disruptor in terms of that is people just got to wrap their head around this is where we're going. Just as much as when people were like, I'm never going to get on Snapchat. That is for cheaters and 14. Kids. Huh?
14-year-olds.
Yeah, that's for the kids. And then later jumped on it. Same with TikTok. Same with Facebook. Like you could either ignore it and just wait, right? And until eventually you you drag into it and then you figure out you like it, or you could jump on the train before it leaves the station. And that's kind of what we've done. And we slapped our sticker on the side of that train. But I think in the future, people are going to see that it's a lot more of a disruptor than they think right now. For sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, Ruben, just as you mentioned, it starts with your mindset first. A lot of times we don't want to be uncomfortable, and it's a different way of doing business. And I always like to explain, even for us, our metaverse is essentially the EXP world. And it sounds very odd in the beginning, but the avatar literally becomes an extension of you. And for people that are a little resistant, they love the EXP model, maybe they're resistant a little bit to the avatar space. I'm like, listen, if you think about it, EXP world, our metaverse, is the common denominator, which really allows us to operate the way that we do, which allows us to give our agents the opportunity to be shareholders, which allows us to give back and contribute to our agents through revenue share and all these different things. So that really leads me to my next question is, and by the way, guys, if you're watching this, we would love to hear what you believe is a big disruptor this year. So please go ahead and drop a comment below.
Or if you don't think it's going to happen, do you not think it's going to happen? Do you think that forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, it's always going to be the brick and mortar way? If that's your opinion, that's all good. I just want to know. And by the way, just here, raise your hand if you avoided the EXP world like the plague when you first joined. Raise your hand. Right? We all kind of avoided it. And that's too weird. We all needed the disruption in our head in order to go into it. But when we did, we were like, holy crap, this makes things...
Do I talk to this thing? What is that?
Yeah.
Well, but it makes things so much easier.
A perfect example, I've been in real estate. This is my 16th year. Do you guys remember when you brought your client into the office, you wet signed, you made 5 copies, you took it to the other brokerage, you dropped it off, you picked it up. When Dotloop, when that electronic signature system came in, everybody was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. And look at it now. There's not a company on the planet that doesn't use an electronic signature. So that just goes back to the mindset. It's just wrapping your head around something different and it making your business more efficient.
100%. I mean, I still remember when everybody was like, oh my gosh, how are you going to be able to prove that that's the right signature? We might have lost Ruben here. He'll pop back in. And speaking of, I haven't been in real estate 16 years like you, but I have been for 12 years. I mean, I remember when showing time didn't exist and we were sitting there logging, all the agents. And so I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. So when agents complain now, I'm like, no, it's way easier now than it used to be. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Welcome back. Unfortunately, we had a little technical difficulty here. But I want you guys to hear this because this is unbelievable. JB, could you just repeat what you just said? Because I think it's just mind blowing.
Yes. So I came to the company 9 months ago, and in 9 months, I've been able to grow an organization of 74 agents with EXP. So, I mean, that is my overhead a month is a whopping $85 to do that. And it's one of the best things I've ever done. I mean, I have been at previous companies and I was not able to do that.
So let me ask you this, JB. You know, you have a very successful production team, and now you've got this organization that you're building within the model of 74 agents in, 9 months, which I think is incredible. Why and how did your focus shift?
Well, I think when I truly understood the model with EXP, there was no way I could keep this from people. I didn't want people to make the same mistakes I did as a top producer. What I realized once I joined is I was doing nothing different day to day, but I had multiple streams of income. And now I'm in a position where I can help other agents do exactly. I can take my 16 years of experience and knowledge and all the things that I've learned, and I can share that with agents and help them build their business. And there was just, when I got the vision, I had to tell everyone about it. So, I mean, that was really the mindset shift, is I didn't want people to make the same mistakes I did.
So am I getting this, that you're not recruiting agents, you're actually partnering with them and helping them be, which, by the way, we should have added a number 4, because I think that's one of the big game changers right there, is we're not in competition with each other.
No.
Ruben, and I know you were formerly, great company, Keller Williams, you were a team leader there. I think some might argue that there's expansion team opportunities in a franchise model. So if you had to sum it up into one thing that really is what makes EXP unique and different, what would that be?
In terms of
expansion?
Yeah. So just a breath of fresh air, ease. Yeah, just ease. I mean, because even while y'all were talking, I was even thinking of some of the other challenges we ran into, which was different cap models. So if I was running here, our cap was 25,000, including the franchise fee that you have to cap on, altogether 25. We want to move into a different market. Let's say, I don't know, Raleigh, North Carolina. Then that one's gonna, and I don't know what they've done or if they've changed now, but higher cap, 28 or 29 or 30. You go an hour away, same deal, right? So if I just want to expand 1 hour away, I was paying extra money just to do it, just to live in their cap world. And oh, by the way, that's everybody else too. So, and their standard of operate, and the classes we have to go to, and the training, and the way that they do that, however they run that market center or that office. But the cap is a big thing, right? Because you have to then calculate, does it even make sense to move into this market anymore? I got to deal with this, and including the cap, and everybody else is dealing with this cap. Does it make sense anymore? When you have one cap, no borders, you could just move. I can literally just reach out to EXP World, tell Oklahoma I'm coming to town, find an agent in there that's ready to roll. I could do it in 1 day. It's so when you go back, it's the word I think of, ease. It's so much easier, and it doesn't stop you from being that entrepreneur that you are and the conqueror that you are too, right? So, yeah, ease.
I love it. And you're right. I mean, I'm licensed in Oklahoma and Florida, and it's incredibly easy. Not just easy, but also there's the financial benefit of having the one cap. But also when you look at the systems, you're essentially using the same systems except for state contracts and such. So you're not having to be with 2 different brokerages, and not just across state lines, but also even, you mentioned markets, right? We have an agent, JB, in Tulsa. When he came to us, he's like, I want to sell in Oklahoma City as well, which is an hour and a half away. I get deals there. Why would I not take advantage of that? And now he can work with both markets, and like I said, it's as easy as just joining that board in that MLS. So with that said, that really leads me into my last one here. We talk about expansion teams, the fact that EXP is not a franchise. And the fact that we're a borderless brokerage, if you think about it, we have no geographical boundaries, which lead us into the whole brick and mortar office. And when you look at Blockbuster versus Netflix, that's what ultimately ruined Blockbuster, right? So how is having that the brick and mortar lack thereof really affected your business in the way that we operate?
It's not affected it at all. I think it's made it more efficient. I really, even when I had a brick and mortar office, I was never there. But the reality of it is when you have an office and you go in there every day, for me personally, maybe I can't speak for everyone, but I'm not nearly as focused. I spend 15 minutes talking to the front desk girl about what I did or what she did. And then there's cupcakes in the in the kitchen, and then you run into an agent. You're like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. By the time you get down at your desk, I mean, so I am just so much more focused where I office out of now, and I'm much more efficient with my time. So I feel like it's actually enhanced my business.
And one thing that I want to highlight here is we do have brick and mortar options essentially with the Regis shared office spaces. JB, a group of agents in Tulsa, got together and created an office, which is an option if that's something that that agents want. But I'm like you. I'm like, I would much rather. First thing, as a real estate agent, the last place you're ever going to get a referral is in a local office with other real estate agents who are your competition. Let's be honest.
Right? Very true.
Yeah. I tell
Ruben office is out of his car.
Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? This is Yep, and it's in the Jeep. 100%. This right here, my bonus room. Yay. If I turn this camera around, you'll be like, ugh. There's crap everywhere. Even this. What is a pillow doing here? I don't know. But anyways.
Well, I didn't even see it until you brought it to my attention.
Yeah, it's been there the whole time.
Before.
That's funny.
Yeah, this is when I get kicked out of the bedroom. I get in trouble. I come sleep up here. Yeah, so I mean, with the brick and mortar thing, and I tell people this too, is the cool thing is you have the option, right? And I don't know if this is true, but I guess standing on the outside looking in was that when you save so much in overhead and liability, you could really grab a lot of that and decide what you want to do with it as a business. Reinvest, give back to your agents, but you have a lot more money because I had to look at the numbers every month at that office and the amount of money that went into salaries, bonuses, our lease, the freaking cupcakes, right? Like just to keep the place stacked up with like coffee, the cleaning lady, all of that, it ate up because I wanted to protect what we called profit share. And I really, really did. I would turn off my light at 5 p.m., right? So I could protect the profit share, You know how hard it is when you have that much overhead. So imagine what happens when a company is able to erase that, maybe do a deal with Regis and then say, all right, the rest is for us, and then dump it back down to the people who are helping grow the company. That's been a game changer, but I like the option of having a brick and mortar. You don't have to because you're a mega team or because of anything. You don't just, if the option is there, go for it if you want to do that. Some things that we've done is we've just crashed into a lender's office or just this office. If a client wants to meet us at the office, I can't tell you. I've probably had one. Yeah, I've had one in the last 7 years, and I still remember that person. I'm like, why did we meet here? But that's crazy. And like what you were saying earlier, some agents like, you know what? I can't wait to go to the brick and mortar. As a new agent, get to hear what all the big producers are doing. Can't wait to and I'm like, where do you think the big producers are at?
In their cars.
In the car.
Not
in the field.
Out in the office.
No. Why would they be? They're out there making it work, growing a business, growing an empire. They're not sitting there at their table waiting for you to show up so they can answer your questions. It's just not how it rolls. So, on the business side, man, one of the biggest disruptors, and I think we saw it with COVID, is that we don't have to have an office, period. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to have that overhead. And we don't have to have that liability. And we can still run a pretty banging business. That was a big one. And then for agents, Your big producers, your people who are really out there crushing it, they're running the world out there in the field. They're not sitting at the office waiting for you to hear their secret conversation so you can get a hint. It's just not how it works.
Yeah. And, back to the year of COVID, at that time I was at a traditional brokerage and our office was shut down. I can't tell you how many realtor friends of mine had their best year they ever had.
And that's the old-fashioned model, right? I mean, we think about it. It's that's the way it used to be before technology. So people would physically go into an office to find a real estate agent. Well, now the consumer is using the internet. So why, as an agent, are we not using the internet? But I want to highlight one thing that Ruben had mentioned, and I've gotten asked this question before, is, why would I be with a real estate company that doesn't own any real estate? Right? Mind blowing. But here's what I want to say that Ruben, I want to highlight this because I think this is so important, is the brick and mortars are owned by the owners. They're owned by the franchise owners, what have you, right? Just like the old-fashioned model that JB came from. But what EXP has done is allowed all the agents to become shareholders and owners in their company, create the revenue share. And do you know how many real estate agents that I know that are with EXP that are investing back in their communities? So EXP's allowed, there's 3 right here, right? So EXP's allowed their agents to be the ones that are creating. And I actually did an interview with the Swift team in Missouri, and they took the stock that they had earned and put that in a down payment of a commercial building, right? So it's not about the big guys at the top having all the brick and mortar space. It's about giving agents like us the opportunity to become investors and invest back in our market. And that's where we own a lot of real estate as EXP agents.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll say, it's not an incentive for those brick and mortars people, at least that I've seen. I don't know. I can't speak for all brick and mortar, obviously, but it's not an incentive to teach you how to become an investor and create passive income, right? Because we need you out in the field to sell more homes so we can get the company dollar to keep this thing floating, keep the lights on, all right? We need you out there to passive what? No. I need you to go out. Yeah. Go sell more homes.
I need to learn about that.
Yeah. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with going to sell more homes, but man, going to EXPCon, there was a lot of conversations about investing. Matter of fact, seeing what's coming up on EXP Shareholder Summit, and they sent out a thing like, who wants to speak? When I was looking through it, I was like, what? Like, they're teaching how to become passive real estate agents. So you have that income, and you can also go out there in the field too. But there's a conflict of interest, man, when you start teaching your agents to build passive income, but you need that active in order to keep that thing floating.
In the old-fashioned model, right? There was a conflict of interest.
Big time. Yep, 100%.
Well, great. I mean, really, to recap, so we have the 3 disruptors that we believe will change real estate forever. We've seen it in the past. It's really, really prevalent in 2022. So number 1, we've got crypto, NFTs, the metaverse, so all the digital stuff that's come down the pipeline. Number 2, we've got expansion teams. And then the last but not least, the brick and mortar or lack thereof being able to operate in a virtual space. Anything that you guys want to add to this?
I think we covered quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I guess what I would add is that I would love to hear rebuttals, right? I mean, if you agree, awesome, share it with somebody else who believes in that. And I don't think us 3 here are afraid to hear a no, or that's not how it works. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like the market and people within your office came after you when you made the move because you moved into disruption, and the world and the market doesn't see it at the beginning. That's why it's a disruptor. So if you do have something that's like, nah, there's no way, and I'd love to hear it. I know these 2 beautiful ladies would love to hear it. Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Maybe there's an angle we don't see here. But that's what I would add. Yeah, I want to know.
Absolutely. And I think it'll, bring up some great conversations, and we do this once a month. So it'll bring up, great conversations. And I think, anytime you bring up different points of view, that's healthy. And I think that's something that we would appreciate. So with that said, I want to thank both of you. I know that you're both super, super busy, and you have dedicated this time once a month to give back and give some different perspective to agents. With that said, if agents want more information, kind of chat with you a little bit, how can they get a hold of you guys?
JB Hawkins, and I'll just give my cell phone number. It's easy to find anyways. 918-404-1416. You can call me, text me anytime. I'd love to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, you just hit me at Prove It by Ruben on all social media platforms. It doesn't matter. You just shoot on there, Prove It by Ruben, hit me up with a DM. I got you.
Fantastic. I love it. Well, thank you both. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to see what's going to come next.
Me too.
Awesome. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.